Hello, good morning. Welcome to the Engineer to Fly webinar. I'm your host, Anita Matthias. I've got over 10 years of experience working with Dassault System products in the aerospace and automotive sectors. My goal today is to highlight some of the challenges suppliers face in the aerospace industry and how these can be met with the Engineer to Fly solution. Today, aerospace and defense suppliers face significant pressures to improve gross margins, revenues, and market share. The number of companies competing for business is rising, while OEMs demand higher production rates, just-in-time delivery of parts, and increased quality control. The Engineer to Fly solution is an integrated solution designed to help suppliers enhance performance from bid to delivery. If you are focused on machine parts and complex assemblies or systems and engineering with a build-to-print or engineer-to-order business model, this solution will help you improve the bidding process, implement integrated governance and program management, optimize the manufacturing process through digital continuity, and implement integrated support for audit and quality control. The benefits of this integrated process, as seen by some of our customers, are 40% productivity enhancements. This comes from eliminating any redundant data through the use of digital continuity, reuse of intellectual properties, and automation of design and part fabrication. A 30% error reduction due to reuse of rules and standard checks and the ability to design right the first time. And a 40% reduction in the change process due to increased collaboration, having just a single source definition of your data and a total quality control process. This translates into a 30 to 50% efficiency improvement for all our customers. Let's explore the solution now in detail. We'll begin with the bidding process, and this is managed by the proposal manager in Innovia, which is the PLM suite. The Engineer to Fly solution can help you move from an ad hoc process to a repeatable process for your RFP management. The solution allows you to improve your bid quality by reusing existing processes and standard processes, and it drives bid compliances through a strong management of RFPs and the requirements that come from your customers. So I'm going to go through the environment over here as a proposal manager. So as a proposal manager, I do have to manage all of my RFPs. I can group them into various groupings. Oh, here I have my RFPs grouped into this RFP folder. And within that, I can see all of the RFPs that I'm working on, and as well as monitor the KPIs such as pending tasks, deliverables, pending issues, efforts, and so on. And I can also take a deeper dive into these metrics if I need to monitor them and figure out where the bottleneck is. Let's look at one of this RFP in detail, which is the A101 rear exhaust. And this is the example we're going to use for the rest of our scenario as well. We're going to see how this rear exhaust goes from the bid to the final execution and delivery. So within this rear exhaust program that I have, I can see the dashboard, I can see the progress made and any sort of slippage on it as well. Before we get into the details of this project, this RFP was initiated from the customer, so let's quickly look at that RFP that came from our customer. And the customer sent us a Word document that contained the details of the requirements that they were looking for in the bid process. And thanks to the Word integration that I have for requirement capture, I can now take all of the requirements from this customer and capture that from the Word document and then save that to my database. And once that's in the Innovia system, this is what it will look like. I have each of these requirements as individual objects, and the text is preserved as well, so I can modify and change it within the Innovia product itself. As well as these individual requirements can be assigned to various users. There are other metrics that I can track against this, just to make sure that these requirements have been processed and worked upon in a timely fashion. I can also track the compliancy matrix, which has to do with once you have these requirements in the system and you assign these requirements to various individuals, do they understand these requirements to work on them and create the design from those requirements, or if there's any further clarification that you need to get from the customer. So that's how I got the requirements into the system to begin my RFP process. Let's look at the schedule as to how this process is being played out. So this is my RFP schedule. And as the proposal manager, I'm going to assign these individual tasks to various designers and engineers and make sure that they do their part, and I can track their progress, and as well as the deliverables that they submit to complete this RFP process. I also have a phase gate review, and this gives us an indication of where we are in the entire RFP process. There's a color code of red, yellow, and green to indicate any delays or bottlenecks. And for each of my gates, I have checklists that allow me to track the review process of this gate in the RFP and make sure that all of these individual items have been met, and as well as the deliverables that have to be met at that gate have been delivered as well. And finally, I do group all of these deliverables into my proposal volumes so that it's ready to be shipped out to the customer. And I can run my report on this to just make sure that all of them are in the right state and they have been completed before I ship this out to the customer to answer my RFP. So we just saw the proposal manager answer the bids and create a repeatable process to meet their customer requirements. We now move to the project manager, who is responsible for the delivery. Every aerospace supplier has to be AS9100 compliant. The Engineer to Fly solution can help you enforce that, and as well as help you with the project execution and resource optimization. In addition, we help companies manage their work packages and the product configuration. So as a project manager, I'm going to take the details and the requirements from my RFP process and then build out a work package that will design the requirements within that. But before that, I'm going to define AS9100 project templates, and these templates will drive the project timelines in compliance with AS9100 processes. So I next build out my work packages that are used to create this or design this product. And the work package is controlled by your master projects that help deliver your work package. The work package further has requirements that are tied into this work package, and this drives the design process and what the engineers need to do to deliver this rear exhaust that we're working on. I can also track the bill of material and the various variants of this bill of material as well. And this gives me a good control of what would be the engineering bill of material that can be delivered. And this will be used downstream by the manufacturing engineer, which we'll look at next. So all of these details are linked to my work package. Let's look at that project that is controlling the delivery of this rear exhaust as well. So as we saw with the proposal manager, I do have a dashboard that lets me know about the overall progress and any delays in my delivery as well. I can look at the critical tasks and drill down as to what the bottlenecks are. I can also look at the financial information to make sure my project is delivered on time and on budget. And the risks are tracked as well. So tracking risks are a key requirement for your AS9100 standard. I can also see my issues that are involved in this project. So looking at the schedule, once again, we can look at the various tasks that have been assigned to my project members and the deliverables that they have submitted as part of this process. I can also run my deliverable report, which gives me the overall progress of my assignees to see if they are working on the deliverables as planned or not. And with the project tasks and deliverables, once the task member completes their deliverable, it will automatically complete the task as well. Next, I want to make sure that all my project members have been assigned the right task. So I can do that using the assignment screen and assign various tasks to these project members. And that is driven through the project roles that have been assigned to these individual project members. I also can raise resource requests to the resource manager, requesting for various resources given the time frame that I'm looking at and the skill that I'm looking at as well. When I raise these resource requests, they go to the resource pool, and the resource manager that is in charge of that resource pool is going to look at the requests that come in and then assign the right resources based on skill level and based on the time frame. As a resource manager, I can run various reports that will let me know about the resource demand, and as well as if there are any bottlenecks in the system where I need to procure more resources or build a buffer for these resources in the system. So as the project manager, we just saw how to deliver a project on time and on budget and on schedule using the AS9100 processes. Next, we will talk about the manufacturing manager. And one of the main challenges of a build-to-print company is to adapt quickly to its customers' production rate. So the engineer to fly offers suppliers tools to optimize the industrialization process, increase the robustness and quality, and define manufacturing resources, as well as generate work instructions. So as the manufacturing manager, I have to define my manufacturing strategy and optimize on my process. So I can see the project, the A101 rear exhaust project within the native application, in this case, CATIA. And I can also look at all of the project documents. So I can look at the 3D model, the bill of material. I can also reference the manufacturing requirements that have to be delivered as part of this process. And again, these requirements can be assigned to various individuals to be worked upon. I can also build out my manufacturing bill of material, and this would be generated from that engineering bill of material that was generated as part of the earlier process by the design engineers. And looking at this manufacturing bill of material, I can visualize it in 3D and add some intermediate assembly steps as well. And at each of these steps, I can understand what's being built and get a clear idea of how the design translates into my manufacturing process. Now, once I'm done creating my MBOM, the next step is to create the routings. And so I can create the routings in my system and define my assembly line and define various workstations that will be used. And as well as I can provide additional detail about the operations within these assembly lines or these workstations, such as loading, welding, and so on. And once I have defined this, the next step is to make sure that this is optimized for production. So using my Gantt chart, I can track the various utilizations across these workstations and then play around with the takt time to get the right utilization built in, and as well as get to the ideal production takt time that I can utilize. Another thing that I can do is look at my workload balance, and this helps me understand for my assembly line what are the workstations that are overloaded, and then I can balance these out based on idle time and utilization as well. Another important step for a manufacturing manager is to make sure that all of my process also has the right tooling and resources built in. So using the 3DEXPERIENCE platform, I can make sure that all of these models do have the right resources and tooling built into the system and factored in during the initial process itself. And I'm going to just drill down into one of these tools over here. And we'll look at the various 3D annotations that can be added to that as well within the system, as well as I can generate drawings off of this, which can be then shared with my suppliers. Okay. And then finally, what I want to do is also generate work instructions. So I have generated my bill of material, I've prioritized and optimized my assembly line and generated the right tooling. The next thing that I want to do is just make sure that I have the right work instructions that I can share with my shop floor. Okay, so here I can see the various annotations and instructions that are available to the shop floor. And I can also look at various views that have to be, and the steps that have to be processed by my shop floor. As well as I can export this out into, or publish this out into another document, which can then be shared with the shop floor users. And that contains all the details over there as well. And finally, I do want to make sure that whatever process I'm looking at is compliant with those requirements that we had set above. So using a tool, we can also make sure that these requirements are in the right system and being controlled in the right manner as well. Okay. So we just saw the manufacturing manager work with the process, optimize their resources, and create work instructions. The next step and the final step is to look at the quality manager and see how the quality manager can create quality documents and create a robust change process to manage audits and create a whole quality management system that other people can adhere to as well. So coming back to web browser over here, which is PLM system, we can look at the work packages that have been used to deliver this product. And as a quality manager, I want to make sure that my audits have been met. So I create various internal audits, and these come from my project templates. And as I did with the project manager and the proposal manager, I can track my progress and the overall completeness of this audit as well. I can then also track the various change processes in the system, and I can create templates for these change processes as well to make sure that people who are using the change process are adhering to the right process. So here there's a new requirement that came in that affected my work package, standard operating procedure document, my bill of material, and the design requirements. And I can make sure that these change processes have been worked upon in the right manner and generate reports to see that information as well. The history of the change process is controlled in the system, and that's readily available to me to ensure that the right people are working on the right data. I can also track the units that are being built out. So I can track which plants are building them out, which customers, when it was shipped out, and the build dates associated with that as well. And as a quality manager, another key responsibility is to look at the issues that are coming from the shop floor and make sure those issues are being resolved in a timely fashion. So I can look at all the issues that are coming in, and I can look at the type of issues as well. And then, you know, if it's a particular type of issue that keeps recurring, I can build a CAPA process for that to resolve those issues if they are systematic. And with these issues, again, I can see who's working on it, if the time due dates have been met, and as well as which work packages they are associated with. Finally, as a quality manager, I want to make sure that all the documents, the quality documents and control documents, follow a proper process. For that, I build templates for these quality documents, and users can use these templates to then create those appropriate control documents. When I use these quality documents or templates, they will undergo a periodic review that ensures that the data is relevant and my process is relevant. It also undergoes a strict change control process whenever it has to be revised or released. And once the change document has been changed, I can then publish it to the right individuals and make sure that they are trained on it and track the percentage completion of that training as well. Okay, so with the quality manager, we just validated that the quality of the system is maintained, that there's a strict change control process, and that I can create audits and make sure that the best practices are followed. So to recap, what we saw is the proposal manager submit an accurate bid quickly. And then we saw the project manager access the RFP documents and then create a project that delivered on time, on budget. And then we saw the manufacturing manager take the engineering bill of material and then define a manufacturing bill of material, the resources that go into it, the assembly line, and work instructions. And then we saw the quality manager enforce an end-to-end quality process that affects all phases and has a history of all those changes in the system. What this does is, with the engineer-to-fly solution, we give you a single data source with digital continuity from bid to delivery, which will allow you to efficiently deliver as per the customer contract. And the whole process is transparent and provides end-to-end traceability. As a result of this, you can at least expect 15% of reduction in your total cost of ownership and an increase in efficiency. With that, I'm going to end this presentation, and I'll open the floor to any questions you may have.